Good day. Welcome to FE 103, Ethics and Society, Study Session 1, Human Nature and Society. Introduction. In this study session, we will examine the basic facts about human existence, the essential characteristics of human beings that make up society, and how these give rise to social interaction and to the emergence of society. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to point out the key features that characterize human nature and describe how human nature necessitated the formation of society. Human nature. Speculations on human nature have been on since antiquity, and scholars across disciplines have always tried to arrive at an adequate understanding of the nature of humanity. There has always been the perennial effort to explain and resolve the apparent mysteries and paradoxes surrounding human nature. Humans have always been interested in identifying their essence, place in the universe, position in relation to other beings, and the ultimate meaning of their existence. Speculations and proposals on what human nature is, as varied and sometimes as conflicting as the interests and disciplines of the people doing the thinking. A reason for this is located in the fact that the perspective from which the theologian, for instance, examines the nature of the human person is different from that of the psychologist. Likewise, the way the political scientist is interested in human nature is quite different from that of the metaphysician. Even where there is an agreement as far as disciplines and interests are concerned, people still arrive at different or even conflicting viewpoints on the nature of humanity. From the perspective of moral philosophers, for instance, there is a disagreement over whether humans are basically bad, aggressive and destructive, or naturally good, compassionate and cooperative. Within the context of political philosophy, philosophers across ages have proposed conflicting views about what our nature is as humans. While some philosophers say that humans are by nature equal, others maintain that nature has made humans unequal. Plato, for instance, is of the opinion that while nature has made some people to be rulers, some are natural soldiers and others artisans, traders, or slaves by nature. Thomas Hobbes is a typical example of a philosopher who construes humans as equal by nature. Note: proposals on what human nature is or ought to be are varied and sometimes as conflicting as the interests and disciplines of the people doing the thinking. While a conception of human nature may have vital implications, directly or otherwise, the question is, does this submission capture a full account of human nature? For metaphysicians and theologians, the fundamental issue is about the materiality and spirituality of man, while idealists maintain that the human person is essentially spiritual. Materialists contend that she or he is primarily material. Dualists, on their own part, argue that humans are dual in nature, having a combination of the material aspects and the spiritual side. While each of the numerous conceptions of human nature has vital implications, directly or otherwise, on practically everything that relates to humankind and society, the fact remains that each of them on its own does not offer a comprehensive account of human nature. Reflection. Human nature is multifaceted and quite complex. Thus, questions relating to it do not afford easy answers. Features that characterize human nature. Nonetheless, there are a number of features that humans possess which determine their interaction in society and also give substance and meaning to morality. Let us discuss each of these features. Rationality. All humans are rational beings. The term rationality connotes the ability to reason or to think in a consistent and comprehensive manner and arrive at enlightened conclusions on the basis of available facts, referred to as premises. Thus, describing humans as rational means that they all have the capacity to draw out reasonable conclusions on the basis of available facts in a way that other animals cannot. However, it must be noted that humans employ this capacity to varying degrees in different circumstances. And at times, people tend to base their conclusions and positions on emotions, prior expectations, and biases, and not on any rational consideration. In such cases, we say that people behave irrationally or unreasonably. But this does not imply that they have lost the essential capacity to reason. Free will and moral responsibility. Free will is a philosophical term that refers to the capacity of rational agents to choose a course of action from among various alternatives. They have the capacity to decide on what to do and what not to do out of the available alternatives. This capacity is a corollary of human rationality in the sense that humans are able to make choices simply because they possess the capacity to reason. Free will, in turn, gives meaning to the idea of moral responsibility in the sense that it is because humans possess free will and are capable of rational choices that it is meaningful to hold people to be either praiseworthy or blameworthy for their decisions and actions. For example, it is because humans are believed to have the capacity to decide to either lie or tell the truth in a given circumstance that we can reasonably praise an individual for doing what is morally right if she or he tells the truth, or blame a person for doing what is morally wrong if she or he decides to lie. Vulnerability. Humans differ in terms of their physical strength and mental acumen. But no matter how physically strong or intelligent specific individuals might be, all humans are equally vulnerable. This is in the sense that all humans are susceptible to various risks in life. They can all fall sick, die, and have any kind of accident. Besides, no matter how strong a person might be, all humans have certain needs, ordinarily referred to as basic human needs. need for shelter, for food, clothing, and other general care that makes life meaningful and pleasant. These needs are multiple and can be as well complex, given the scarcity of resources required to meet them. Resources available in society are such that at any given point in time, they are never sufficient to satisfy everyone in society at the same time. Lack of self-sufficiency. No matter how physically strong, intelligent, or gifted a person might be, no one is self-sufficient. No human person can survive and have a meaningful and fulfilling existence in isolation of other human beings. This is born out of the fact that human needs are multiple and complex and can only be effectively met when people interact with one another in diverse forms of social interaction. For instance, there is no way an individual can effectively provide all his food, clothing, shelter, and medical and emotional needs all by himself, without adequate contribution and assistance from other people. Need for social interaction and the formation of society. The vulnerability of all humans and the fact that none is self-sufficient necessitates human interpersonal relations and the formation of society. It is this understanding that generated the idea, first presented by Aristotle, that human beings are necessarily social animals. This means that they cannot exist and maximize their potentials as human beings unless they live in society where their diverse needs are effectively met through their cooperative efforts. Society in this regard is understood as an organized group of people who share some interests or objectives in common and who enters into cooperative relationships in order to enhance their common interests and achieve their common objectives. It is usually characterized by a common tradition as well as various institutions to ensure that common interests and objectives are effectively pursued. One of such institutions is the moral institution. Study session summary. In this study session, we focused on the speculations on human nature, which are varied depending on the perspective from which it is examined and the specific interest of the speculator. However, a number of features are believed to have characterized the nature of humans and also provide the basis for society. These have been identified to include rationality, free will, vulnerability, and insufficiency. Finally, we analyze the needs for social interaction and the formation of society. End of study session 1. Thank you for listening.